this was to be a nation by white people and for white people. Native Americans, blacks, were to be the burden bearers for the real citizens of this nation. We are standing in the place of those who could not make it here today. We are standing on the blood of our ancestors. But God is now calling upon the despised and the rejected to become the cornerstone and the builders of a new world. Never again in the future shall the black and the red be divided. We were one in the beginning, and we are now one in the end.
We do not recognize any division between Sioux, Navajo, Hopi, Cree, Chicopee, Iroquois, Seminole. You are really one nation. And as long as you see yourself as only a small part of that nation, you become a minority. And when you are a minority, you begin to think like a minority. But if you understand that as people of color, we outnumber others 11-1 on our planet, then you are an international people who must not think just in terms of yourself and the other Native Americans. You have indigenous people that look just like you in Mongolia. You have people that look just like you in parts of Asia, in Central America, South America, the Caribbean. You are a great people, and you need to think more of contacting all of the members of your family, because all the family members are suffering, but all the family members desire to come together in unity so that together we can address the problems and the challenges that we face. It's time now for all of us who have been the victims of tyranny and oppression to see our relationship to each other come together in a solid wall of unity, then address the government. And the government will have to bow, because our unity will be more powerful than an atomic or hydrogen bomb.
Yes. In the grafting of the Caucasian race, he asked the question, what happened to the Indian or the red man? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad does not teach us that the Indian had anything or any part in the grafting. That the Indian people, as they're called, red man, are really original people. And they've been on this earth a long, long time. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that they were exiled from that part of the planet that you call India over here over 16,000 years ago for breaking the law of Islam. And he teaches us that the Indians came over, walked from Asia, right over the Bering Straits, down into Alaska. And you have people that live in Alaska that you call Eskimos that are really original people, kin to the man that you call Indian. And they came right down the western part of this country, what you call California today. And Dr. Leakey discovered bones in California, the western part of the state, which shows the Indians were here, and their anthropologists said over 40,000 years. And they spread out, brother. Some of them came across Canada. Some of them came north and then on into the east, up into New York State, as it is called now, up into Canada. Some went down into the Everglades, into what is called the Carolinas. Some went down into Mexico, and then some even jumped over the Florida into the Caribbean. So you have the trace of Indians, or what is called Indians, all over that area, but they are original people. And as you get down into the southern part of Mexico and down into South America, where you get into the Mayan Indians, you find those people, the Aztecs, very, very dark people. They are not red people. They are the original people, and they are really our brothers and sisters. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad also said that in the last days, which is now, you would find a coming together of that man that is called the Indian and the original man or black man, and we would form a union.
Last week, Brother Farrakhan quickly came into the country and then disappeared. I did not want to tell you at that time where I was, because I knew that some of you would get very, very excited. But 2 years ago, I made a commitment to the Navajo and Hopi Indians that on July the 6th, 1986, it was learned that the government of the United States had planned to move the Navajo Indians off of their lands, and I pledged to them that I would be there with them when the government and the soldiers appeared. You may say, Brother Farrakhan, that is very dangerous. Yes, it is. But I am convinced, more so now than ever before, that there's a power with me that the United States government will soon recognize, if they don't already recognize it, and you too will come to recognize it. And I had to be there with the Indians because the United States government is a very murderous government, and they will stop at nothing to get their ends. But I believed with all my heart that if I were among the Indians, that they would not do anything. Because if I am just scratched accidentally by you, you will be destroyed completely. I'm not boasting, but I am more than what you think I am. And I am more than what I thought I was. But I am here for your salvation and for the damnation of those who are against your rise.
Take it or let it alone. That's why I'm here to tell you, you don't need weapons, black man and woman. I went among the Indians, and before I went, I sent a message up to them. You do not need weapons. Put the weapons away. You already have the best weapon, God himself, and all you need to do is line up with God and get yourself right with the God, and you got power to make things happen, black man and woman, that would blow your mind. You got power today to make things happen if you come in tune with Almighty God. But you are holding back your own rise by your own foolishness. Beloved, I knew that if I went, the wheel would go with me. And that was sufficient power. That would be sufficient power to stop them. I wanted Allah to manifest this power among the Indians for a very special reason. When we went and got into the Four Corners area of northern Arizona, we showed up in the wee hours of July 4th. We had timed it in accord with that which happened 56 years ago on July 4th, when a very mysterious and powerful man showed up in America, Master Farrakhan Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, who manifested in North America the great Mahdi in 1930, declaring the independence of the black man from white people. 56 years later, in the early morning of July 4th, we manifested among the Indians, declaring not the independence of the Indians, for they are already that, but declaring the union of the black and the red. You may ask yourself, well, Farrakhan, why would you be among the Indians? They are not our people. Master Farrakhan Muhammad, the great Mahdi, when he was in our presence, and Mahdi is an Arab word which means the self-guided one, or one who comes to guide to the right path. And if you behold our movements, you can tell, if you are objective, that somebody is guiding us that is bigger than we are. The fact that I was able to get back in the country without their seeing me, yet they were looking for me and had alerted every airport and every seaport to be aware that I was on my way. Think about that. And yet when I got here, they didn't see me. Didn't know I was here. Right up under their nose. I'm not bragging. What I'm telling America is your plans didn't work. And God wants to show you that anything you plan against me, it's really against yourself. So plan on. As I told you in my homecoming speech, plan whatever you want to plan, then double it. Plan whatever you plan, then triple it and quadruple it. And when it's all over, by the grace of God, I will be left standing like Moses and Aaron, watching Pharaoh and his army drown in a sea of blood and revolution and war. Take it or let it alone. I think Mr. Reagan would be well advised to send some of your aides to sit down and talk. I'm going to. If you don't want to come yourself, because I'm not coming to you. I'm so full. I just want to tell you that when we started to do the second series of 19 rakas, a wind came up, almost blew our tents down. Strong wind, and then rain fell. It hadn't rained up there in a long time. It rained so hard in 4 hours. There were over 4 to 5 inches of rain that fell in that area, and the meteorologist said it was unusual weather.
because some unusual people were in the valley. Unusual people had contacted the unusual power of God manifest through the Mahdi. Come on. And then that night, when it was time for Salatul Maghrib, as the sun was setting, we looked up and saw a bright orange object in the sky. I said, there it is. And all of us, the Muslims, came out and looked. There were 5 Muslims from Phoenix who had gone up to set up the camp for us. And they came out and they looked, and there it was. And as it began, it was in the southeastern sky. As it got darker and darker, this object began to dance for us. We got our binoculars and peeped at it. And it was changing colors, red and green, and it's true, yellow, and it was going up and down and right and left. And when it got real dark, the wheel began to just dip and dip backward and then come on back and dip again. We knew we weren't looking at a star. We told the Indians, check it. And I told the chief, I said, this is the power that I want you to know is with us today, chief. You don't have to fear the white man taking your land. God has come to give it all back to you if you come back to him. In question number 3, he asked the question, what is the population of the original nation in the wilderness of North America and all over the planet Earth? And he gave the answer at that writing. The answer is 17 million. What else? Wait. Don't be sloppy with words. 17 million. What's the next word? With the 2 million Indians. I'm going to ask you to say that again. 17 million with. What does with mean? Oh, really? If you with me, what does that mean? You're not only in togetherness, you're in agreement. And agreement means accord, harmony, unity, oneness. With the 2 million Indians, making a total of what? 19 million in the wilderness of North America, 4,400,000,000 all over the planet Earth. There's that number 19. That means there's a secret there somewhere. Now, you know when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was among us, and I hear the son of our beloved leader and teacher in the audience. I hear his voice. I have not seen his face, but I hear his voice. He knows that when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was among us, he used to talk about the Indians. And at a certain point, when he moved to Phoenix and set up the property there, there was a little home that Louis Jordan once lived in that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad bought, but he told certain ones that from that house, he would deal with the Indians. And there were several chiefs of the Hopi, Navajo, and other Indians that met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he wrote articles in the paper about the Indians, just dropped things out there. Now, I just say this, and we go home today. But we're going to continue this subject Wednesday night. You understand? I'm not getting no further into that. We got a lot of work to do on all these lessons, a lot of work to do. But look, 17 million with the 2 million Indians. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the Indians rebelled against God 16,000 years ago and were exiled to this part of the earth. Did you know you were a rebel too? Do you think you catching all this hell because you righteous?
I mean, have you thought about it? Say, God, you know, we must have done something at some point in time. Why God just put it on us like this? And you did. See, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't want to talk too much on that because you were not strong enough at that time to accept the fact that you were worthy of what happened to you. Maybe you're strong enough now to accept the fact that your whipping is because you and I were a part of a rebellion against God. Your nose, your lips, your hair is a manifestation of rebellion. Yeah. I know the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that black is beautiful, but now let's deal with reality.
Come on, brother.
Black is beautiful, but rebellion is ugly. And it said God don't like ugly. And when you rebel against God, in your rebellion, there's the seed of real ugliness. And rebellion starts manifesting itself in your eyes, in your face, in your character. You begin to get uglier and uglier. Don't care what the outside looks like, the inside is rotting away with rebellion against God. One day I wrote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and I was angry with God. And I couldn't tell nobody but him. So I told him I hated the scientists. He told us there were 24 of them. I said, I hate all of them. Well, I couldn't tell nobody else. If I'm a hypocrite, I want him to know it first, so he can protect me against myself. But I'm a fool, you know. So I said, I hate every one of them. Because our father Shabazz rebelled. And they didn't send us nobody. And we down in the jungles, just messing ourselves up, cutting our face, putting discs in our lips, elongating our heads. I mean, brothers and sisters, we've been messed up. I mean, I'm not mocking Africa. I'm not mocking the Isles of the Pacific. But that's the result of rebellion against God. You got black people on this earth who don't look like you and reject you. You're not only rejected of white people, you are rejected of all people. Nobody, everywhere I went in the world, don't nobody love this kinky-headed, thick-lipped, broad-nosed black person. And if God didn't love you, you through. Because everybody walks on the black man. Look now. And don't think us mixing with a few white folks, getting a little brighter in the skin or a little curl in the hair or a little less thickness in the lip or nose has made us any better in the eyes of the world. You just a nigger and the world don't love you.
Come on, brother.
Nobody loves you. And the American black man is the most hated of all black people on the earth. Don't nobody want you. I mean, it has been that way. It's changing now. But you're the most hated of all. Yes, sir. Your brothers in the West Indies and sisters, they see you as worse than themselves. This is true. Any of my West Indian brothers and sisters are here, you know what I'm talking about. Because you come up from the islands, and in a few days, you got a little money, you got a home, you moving out. Here's a black man been here all these years complaining, and you say, what's wrong with him? Same spirit of the southern black brother and sister. They come up north, brother born in the north, you look at this brother come up from Bigfoot country. All of a sudden, a person come up from Alabama and Mississippi shot by you like a rocket.
Yes, sir.
Because under oppression, they've learned that they have to go get it for themselves. And they come up and get it, and now Chicago is the most progressive city for black people anywhere in the world. And it's because Chicago is peopled by mostly people from the South, from Alabama and Mississippi. Sippy. The backwoods of Georgia. and you know suffering, and you come on up and you get it together. Is that right? Yes, sir. Beloved brother and sister, everybody turns their back on you. Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, other Africans, blacker than you, hair kinkier than yours, nose broader than yours. You don't see them associating with you. In fact, you stink in the nostrils of civilized people. Don't nobody want to be with you because you don't really have no love for yourself or nobody else. But this is a result of rebellion. When I came to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I said, dear Apostle, he said, don't you ever write me no letter like that and send it through my secretaries. They're not able to handle what you put in that letter. You talk that direct to me. And I said, well, I'm just angry with them, dear Apostle, because 50,000 years is a long time to leave us out of the light. And then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad looked at me and said, brother, Allah didn't send you out there. He said, when our father rebelled, he justified in coming after you. You went out there, then stay out. And that's the way the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was by his son, Imam Warifuddin. When he went out, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad almost turned his back completely. I didn't send you out there. You went out there. And when you go out there and you start suffering and they start whooping your behind, he still don't turn mercifully to you. He just wait on you to come back submissive. Because rebellion is ugly. Rebellion against the way of God is ugly. And God is not justified in coming after you when you rebel against him. He'll leave you out there generation after generation wallowing in the mud and filth of your rebellion. And when God turns his back on you, it's like turning away the light of his inspiration from you. And you start wandering and becoming lower and lower and filthier and filthier and funkier and funkier and more low down. And you begin to see the worst part of yourself manifest because you are a rebel against God. And he don't have to turn back to you. And out of his mercy and love, he may send someone to turn you back toward him, that he may once again turn back towards you. And the same thing that happened to you, black man, for your rebellion 50,000 years ago, and my rebellion, which has earned us the disrespect of the whole planet Earth and being trampled upon by all. And there's nothing that you own that is sacred. Africa was taken from you. Yes. And wherever you live on the earth, you don't own it no more. You're a vagabond in your own home because you're a rebel against God. That's why you catching hell. You can blame the white man, but he only kicked your backside to kick you back into the favor of God. That's right. Yeah, I know it hurt. See, Elijah Muhammad couldn't tell you this then. Because it's hard to justify what the white man did to you. But God permitted the white man to kick us, to burn us, to use the fire of his wicked nature to purify us and bring us back so we could become supreme servants of God. After our fall, we are Adam that rebelled and fell. And you don't have your original powers anymore. And when Master Farad Muhammad appeared among us, a man clothed in the original powers, then naturally we bow down because that man is superior to all human beings on the earth. And since we never knew God, it is right that we bow to this that became a father to us. And Elijah Muhammad, who became a mother to us, but they were growing us that we would bow down to none but Allah, the originator of the heavens and the earth. It's wonderful. So, beloved, the Indians have experienced the same thing. 16,000 years ago they rebelled. Now look at them. Tribes. All over North America, little tribes and little nations. Their language is confused. They can't talk to each other in the tribal language. They're same people. From here all the way to Central America, all the way to South America, the white man kicked they behind, from North America, Canada, down into Central America, killed them all out of the Caribbean. Indians, your people. They are original people just like you, but they rebelled and they lost their original powers. So at some point, God is going to turn mercifully to us. And this is why you say in your prayer, surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah. But you don't turn on your own. There's got to be somebody to help you turn back to God. And that's what Elijah was. He was an axis around which we could turn the children's heart back to the Father and the Father's heart back to the children. Do you hear what I'm saying? I couldn't turn back to God except I had a power turning me. None of us turn back on our own. Without Elijah Muhammad, I wouldn't have turned toward the light of Master Farad Muhammad to turn all the way to the originator of the heavens and the earth. But I'm turning now. And as you turn back to God, he turns back to you. And all of a sudden, a change comes over you. Your heart changes, your mind changes. You become a new individual because the stench and the curse of your rebellion is being removed. The Indians have that curse of rebellion on them, and you and I have it on us. And God made another rebel beat the both of us. Yaqub was a rebel. I'm not going to go into it. Just drop it on you. You think about it. Yaqub made the white man. Brought him right on out of us, and you cannot deny that the white man is a new man on our earth. He did not come from Mother Earth. That is why he don't respect the Mother Earth. That's right. He came from another human being, and he does not respect the human being that he was grafted from. But even though he was an evil influence, yet there's a good that's coming out of it. But you see, it takes maturity to see good in evil. And if you say it before time, you think someone has rebelled against the word of God.